Meanwhile, U.S. President Donald Trump has announced the deployment of an extra 1,500 U.S. troops to the Mexican border as part of his crackdown on immigration. The White House says the troops will join a contingent of around 2,000 troops already at the border with Mexico. The administration has also blocked entry for migrants and refugees already given clearance to settle in the U.S.
The newest executive orders from Washington have quickly and drastically changed things at the US-Mexican border. On the US side, movement noticeably quieted down.
I've noticed that there is less people. I mean, as you can tell, there's usually lots of people lined up here, across the street, and then the vans, of course, that transport them. And there's nothing today.
The bridge is empty. There's no one in there.
Across the country, people are alarmed about the new president's policies and the implications they will have on immigrant communities.
I'm a child of immigrants myself. My family comes from Chihuahua, Mexico. I grew up in this community. I know I'm integrally tied to the community that is being affected by all of the policies that are as xenophobic and very anti-immigrant in this current state.
Trump has received criticism from non-governmental organisations as well as religious leaders. At a prayer service in Washington on his second day in office, the bishop appealed to him directly.
But the vast majority of immigrants are not criminals. They pay taxes and are good neighbors. They are faithful members of our churches and mosques, synagogues, wadara, and temples. I ask you to have mercy, Mr. President, on those in our communities whose children fear that their parents will be taken away, and that you help those who are fleeing war zones and persecution in their own lands to find compassion and welcome here.
Some of Trump's executive orders are already facing court challenges. For instance, 24 Democratic-led states and cities filed a lawsuit against the president's bid to end birthright citizenship. Trump's new policies go, however, beyond targeting citizenship rights. They mean the military will be positioned at the US-Mexican border and instruct authorities to shut down asylum and refugee admissions, painting an even grimmer picture for those trying to enter.
And let's get more on Trump's migration policies from DW's Melissa Chan. Melissa, welcome. Good morning. Now, President Trump has announced the deployment of an extra 1,500 troops to the border with Mexico. What are they supposed to do there?
Well, the government has articulated a few things that they're going to do. For example, fly helicopters, essentially assisting Border Patrol in terms of the bird's eye view of the border and making sure that people are not crossing and catching people who are. Military aircraft will also be provided to help with deportations. On the ground, they have also said that troops will help build border barriers so that famous Trump wall from his first administration, that's back. Although, to be clear, during the Biden administration, there has always been borders along that border in general. This does not preclude the fact that the government can expand the remit of the military down there.
And this week, this week is not yet over, but it's already seen a whole raft of executive orders coming from the White House. What is new when it comes to immigration?
There is so much new in terms of executive orders, Baresh. I actually had to write it down as a list, lest I forget. So, of course, we have that national emergency declaration that allowed the use of the military to the border. We also have the executive order on the birthright citizenship, which in the United States means that if you are born in the United States, you automatically become a citizen. And that has been long-held assumption in terms of being enshrined in the 14th Amendment of the Constitution. What the Trump administration is doing with that executive order is saying, actually, there are exceptions. We believe that children who are born in the United States to parents who are undocumented or who have temporary status in the country, they do not apply. So this is a case that is going to very likely go to the courts for interpretation. So that's the second thing. There's also the third thing that DW has reported on, the executive order on refugees, keeping in mind that these people are not illegal, undocumented. They have gone through the process. A lot of them are Afghans, and their planes essentially got canceled in terms of their flights. And this is an issue that is very close to the heart of a lot of veterans of the U.S. military that relied on these Afghan people who provided assistance to the U.S. government as translators. And so that is being put on hold. Last three is the executive order declaring an invasion. Essentially, that bans people from coming to the border and announcing that they are seeking asylum. There's also an executive order on extreme vetting, which essentially means that people who are going through the normal process of immigration, applying through the standard process to get a visa, the president wants the authorities to take a closer look at those applications and have more scrutiny. And finally, the cartels are being declared foreign terrorist organizations. We don't quite know the ramifications of that. So that's just a few of the things that's happened.
You were right to make a list. This administration appears very well prepared, especially when it comes to immigration. Can you talk a bit about how that preparation has come about?
Well, in many ways, what we have is there has been an administration in waiting over the last couple of years, particularly with Stephen Miller, who's the deputy chief of staff of the White House now. He has always been the immigration policy guy. He was with Trump in the first administration, and he did not abandon Trump after January 6th, as a lot of Republicans did. So this is somebody who's stuck with Trump and is coming in with a lot of things that he's been thinking about over the last 2 years.
Lots to talk about, but thanks so much for coming in today. Melissa Chan, thanks so much.